Hi, everyone. This is Sandi Ault reporting from the wild, and this is the audio podcast companion to my blog on Substack. This is episode 5, The Hurt Locker. My friends, most of you have heard this term, hurt locker. It means a place of profound pain and deep discomfort. And maybe you saw the film by the same name, so if you called up the image of actor Jeremy Renner in his blast-resistant suit making his way towards a suicide bomber, you have it about right. That's where we are now, except few of us have the suit. Some of us are bare-ass naked, but the richest among us have bunkers in the mountains in New Zealand, or they own islands they can retreat to. We may have thought we had protection from the harm that is befalling us, but we are more vulnerable than most of us ever imagined. I am not someone lucky enough to have never imagined this. I possess an innate kind of hypervigilance that is always capable of imagining the worst because of how I grew up. I have learned to keep some version of the blast suit at hand, though not even the best-built anti-explosive armor can protect you from everything. In 2 weeks and change, Christo-fascist oligarchs have taken over the United States government in a coup in which the enabling voting public handed over everything willingly, even gleefully, to their new captors. I have more to say about the voters, but first, you know me. Let me tell you a story. This is about a different kind of wild than the outdoor adventures I've shared. This is about danger, up close, even within. When I was 30, I sought help from a therapist. I was deep in the hurt locker. Some form of grace led me to a man who asked lots of questions and, as I was answering, drew circles, squares, and straight and wiggly lines between them on paper, representing life events, family members, and relationships. At the end of the hour, he showed me his work. He looked directly into my eyes. I think we're talking about the disease of alcoholism. Alcoholism? I couldn't remember the last time I'd had an alcoholic beverage. Like a fish in the ocean, I had no concept of the toxic waters I'd been born in and lived in because they had always surrounded me. They were the lens I looked through, the world I constantly navigated. I had no other frame of reference. Next, he told me that I played an active part in my own pain, using the words enabler and denial. He said I could see him again after I had been to a meeting of adult children of alcoholics. Sidebar, my parents would be horrified that I'm telling you this, but they are both gone now. Even if you didn't grow up like I did, stick with me, because if you are just waking up to this new state of the union we live in and suddenly seeing just how toxic things have become for us without our realizing it, this might resonate. Back to my 30-year-old self. I remember walking to the parking garage after the session, muttering to myself about how that guy couldn't be right, clutching my keys in my hand so tightly that my palm hurt. I got in my car, growling denials all the way home. Once there, I grabbed the keys from the ignition and again gripped them tightly, feeling the metal biting into the flesh of my palm as if the hurt could erase that stunning, unbearable summation of my situation and my part in it as an adult. I turned the key in the lock and pushed open the front door. And then, as if that gesture had revealed a dystopian view of a desolate beach at low tide, complete with the stink and rot of debris, dead fish, and sargassum, all at once I could see the truth of what the therapist had said. I found the nearest meeting. I learned from others how the chaos and confusion, the control and subterfuge, the lying and bullying and failing to be faithful and accountable by those charged with protecting you affects your ability to see things clearly, overwhelms you with disinformation, forces you into reactive and self-protective strategies, and ends up with you wearing the emotional version of a Jeremy Renner suit as you veer erratically from crisis to crisis in a life that can be summed up in 2 words: Hurt Locker. I heard from those who shared their stories how we learn to deny and to permit the weird, controlling, outrageous, and sometimes life-threatening behavior because the big people hold the keys to all the stuff you need to survive. We have all heard the parable about how frogs will sit in a pot of water as the temperature is gradually turned up until they boil to death. That's the story of growing up like I did. And that's the story of where we are right now as citizens in this country. We felt safe in the warm comfort of the only world we had ever known, even as the corruption and rot and greed and injustice began to foul the waters of our democracy. But some of us jumped out of the pot a while ago, and we've been trying to warn others and encourage them to join us. But if you haven't hopped out yet, still want to linger? I hope not, because we are under siege. There is a full-on coup in process, and we hesitate at our own peril. If we do not engage and get moving, they will take everything that is dear to us, and they will suck the life out of our home, the United States of America, the democracy we love. We are already in the hurt locker, and the blasts are going off in the Treasury Department, in the State Department, in the Senate chamber, in the Department of Justice, and in presidential press conferences, and they are aimed at us. They are designed to destroy us. They will hurt us. They will hurt you. I have grown up a lot since the day I opened that door. I am blessed to have received strength and guidance from those ahead of me on the path. Today, by their grace, I am a leader, a creator, and I hope a good example. I look to those who speak and write from a position of wisdom and clarity. People like Heather Cox Richardson, Timothy Snyder, Steve Schmidt, Robert Wright, Mark Elias, Rachel Maddow, and more. I look to the founders of Indivisible, who know more about what our leaders in the Senate and the House could be, but are not, doing than those we elected to serve us. I look to the people around me who are working in their communities to create solutions. So I'm asking you right now, if you're on dry land or if you're still floating in your own personal pot of hot water, hoping it will be all right. If you think that the young suicide bombers that Musk has sent to seize the government's payment and information systems, and the crazed criminal idiot that sits on the throne as a surrogate for the fascists and the tech and crypto billionaires are going to do the right thing, then I think we're talking about the disease of denial. If you think your electeds are going to stop this, I think you might have missed the first 2 weeks of this coup. If you think the courts are going to react quickly and powerfully enough to avert this siege, let me introduce you to the radical right on the Supreme Court who crowned the Orange Demon King, and to our new Attorney General. The thing about the hurt locker is that you don't even bother to put on the protection and try to disarm the things that can blow up on you so long as you deny that those things exist. You risk harm not only for yourself but for everyone around you when you fail to assess the reality of the moment. The people we relied on to do this for us have shown up late to the job. They have been on leave, looking at you, House of Representatives, or they have suffered from their own denial, looking at you, Senators. Together, they wasted over a month voting to hand cabinet-level detonation devices to election deniers, insurrectionists, the architects of Project 2025, DUI hire Fox News hosts, Musk flying data monkeys, and oligarchs who openly plot to delete democracy and create a dictatorship to enrich themselves. The Senate did not open the door until several days ago, when the voters started to light up the congressional switchboards. In their denial and disbelief, they enthroned a string of completely inadequate, unqualified, and clearly pestilential cabinet nominees, thereby handing our lives, our blood, and our treasure to these radicals. They must have felt like a much younger me protecting my family's reputation, that it would hardly be civil to even suggest that we see the IEDs these far-right terrorists have already planted and the detonators in their hands. Our elected representatives' late reaction, their delayed awakening to the gravity of the hurt that was coming, have put us all in even more danger. In the program, right from the beginning, my sponsors taught me to recognize a dangerous situation, to take it stone cold seriously. They taught me to keep the SWAT team on speed dial, and if I was even slightly threatened, to hold the phone up like a pressure detonator with the number dialed and ready to send. They gave me the courage to pull back the curtain on the illusion everybody depended on to keep the game rigged, that everything was all right, when in fact, I was in danger. They gave me the support I needed to jump out of the hot water zone and into the beautiful life I was meant to live. I have loved this life and lived it well ever since that day when I stopped clenching the keys and used them to open the door to change. And maybe it's because my time in the Hurt Locker taught me so well that I have seen this Hurt Locker coming for 10 years. We need to use every kind of skill we can muster to raise the alarm and to resist. My team and I have worked at this since the day the demon descended the golden escalator to rage at brown people and pledged to take control of our government to hurt them and us. The folks from Project 2025 published the plans for their war on democracy and proudly displayed it. The performative cruelty, the hate and disrespect, the criminality and open advocacy for deleting democracy and for dictatorship, this has all been on public display. But like 30-year-old me, too many don't want to see the ugly truth. I feel lucky my willful ignorance that day was not as easy to hold on to as my need to find a way out of the Hurt Locker. But like 30-year-old me, too many don't want to see the ugly truth. And so I know from personal experience that sometimes it just has to hurt so bad that you will do anything to make it stop. That's when you are willing to change. So here's something I have hesitated to say for some time. If I were your sponsor, if you really wanted out of the Hurt Locker and looked to me for experience, strength, and hope, the first thing I would tell you to do is to make your home and your neighborhood safe. It's time to note who is wearing the red hat terrorist attire, spewing the threats and lies that cause fear and choke out freedom. See these maggots in your life clearly. They helped put us all in the Hurt Locker because they didn't want to get off their asses and inform themselves. Or even more likely, they saw what they wanted in it, a reflection of who they truly are, and approval for their worst selves. They voted for this. Make America hate again. If they are still defending their vote, then they are not good people. They exude IEDs everywhere. You will not be safe if you keep them around. If you don't want to do this, then you probably don't want out of the Hurt Locker. Stop tolerating the lies. The media has failed to clearly assess the danger of this Hurt Locker. Some of them make their bones from the rage and the anger. Some think the cruelty is funny. Some will minimize it, fail to accurately assess and report it, and some will just plain lie about it. Get all that out of your safe space. Seek out those who are bold enough to tell you the truth. I gave you the names of some leaders and truth tellers, and there are plenty more if you are ready to hear and to grow. They told me I had to change my playgrounds and playmates if I wanted to get out of the Hurt Locker and have a good life. This same principle applies to our politics. It can no longer be politics as usual. That's over. Many of us have worked to elect and even re-elect those same people in Congress who are currently going along to get along, even capitulating and voting for the democracy bombers. When they do that, they betray us. They violate their oath. They cannot be trusted to the high positions we have awarded to them. They are either actively or passively enabling the coup. We can no longer enable them. This is the part about keeping the SWAT team on speed dial. We, and I mean millions of us, have to provide so much unrelenting pressure on those Democrats who are failing us that they will stop the harm they are doing and start doing the right thing for fear of the consequences. We are the consequences. Indivisible has great actionable ideas on this, so does Democracy Now!, and so do the great thinkers I mentioned before. Join the nearest group of folks who are doing something to confront the reality we face. Together, we have to do this on a national scale to get out of this hurt locker. I'll close with these lines from Sting's They Dance Alone. One day we'll dance on their graves. One day we'll sing our freedom. One day we'll laugh in our joy. And we'll dance. This has been Sandi Ault reporting from the wild. You can read the companion blog to this podcast on Substack. If you want more stories from the wild, look for my Wild Mystery series in book, audiobook, and ebook. You can start with any book in this series and go wild. Take care.